me a whole straight down, pipe that cool air up to it. I wouldn't have to pay a penny for it, would it? Folks, this is no pick and shovel mines. This might give you some vague idea what a coal mines is like, but in no way is it like a modern day mines actually producing coal. This is more or less on the theme how coal was mined back in the very early days when they did it by hand. Pick and shovel, shovel and carts was pulled out of mines by various types of animals, anything from large dogs to goats, ponies, donkeys, mules, even horses and oxen when the steam coal was high enough. You had a small family mine like a mom and papa thing and had one of these big old raw bone, muscle bound, corn fed women, you know. You could hitch up one of them carts and she could pull it out. That line of reasoning is dangerous, though, you know. If you had a woman that big, she'd turn around and make you do it, wouldn't she? You better believe it. Now, the history of this old man Philip opened this mine up in 1890. He ran coal out here for 20 years, from 1890 to 1910. He used mules to pull it out with. Seam of coal we're in right here is what we call a soil seam. Look down towards the bottom anywhere in this old mine, you will see a seam of coal. See, there it is right there. There's the top, there's the bottom. Over here, you got the same thing. See, there's the top, there's the bottom, there it goes there. See it? See, the seam of coal, it's just like the icing over your cake. Icing goes all the way to the cake. Seam of coal goes all the way to the mountain, approximately about the same height. Although it may vary a few inches, but usually it's about the same height. Now, the type of coal mine that is rich in here is what we call soft bituminous metallurgical coal. This is a very high grade of coal. It has less than 1% sulfur and less than 2% ash. And this is the type of coal we use in the steel industry. We make coke out of this coal. And when you tighten those bolts up, the very end of that bolt will open up just like a molly or toggle bolt, anchoring itself up in the roof of the mines, and it's holding that rock from the point of the anchor down. That works very well. Now, water in the mines, most mines do have water in them. Very few mines completely dry. Water filters down to the cracks and crevices, clicks and pools, and the low places in the mines. Now, it's not so bad in high coal. You can walk through it. Most miners wear rubber boots. Your feet don't even get wet. But in low coal, when you got to work on your hands and knees, if you can't crawl around it, you got to crawl through it. You get cold, you get wet, you get miserable, and you want to go home. Of course, you can't.
How did you get down in the mine? You didn't have carts like this, did you?
My man trip.
Pardon me?
Man trip. Something similar to this.
Oh.
You know, cushion seats or anything, you know. Pulled you in the mines, or a belt line. You ride the belt line, you know. Conveyor belt line.
Oh.
Or it's a short distance you can walk in, or crawl in. One means or another. Now, where was it?
How much is mine under Beckley?
This mine,
How much is mine under Beckley?
all of it. All of it. That's a Beckley seam under Beckley. It's about 600-700 feet down. We use water in the mines. On the machines that actually mine the coal, you face machinery. Water is pumped to the machine, and as the machine's in operation, water is sprayed onto the coal to keep the coal dust down so the miners won't breathe it. Now, folks, right here, we're going back to the days when they first began to use electricity and heavy industry. Of course, coal mines was no exception. And they brought a very few pieces of machinery in the mines. Now, this relieved the miner of some of his labors, but he still had to do most of the work by hand. But what it actually did do is get the animals out of the mines, see. Some of them coal companies mistreated those animals. Some of them would take these animals down the mines and they'd leave them day in and day out, day after day. Wouldn't take them out, just bring feed down to them, and then poor animals would go blind. And they'd get rid of the animals. See, the electric motors took the place of the animals. They pulled the coal out of the mines to the animals. I wish I could light it off for you, but I don't have no carbide, and none of these work right. Not one of them works, but they don't work right. It's half stopped up. Anyway, carbide went to the bottom here. Water went up here to the top, and this regulated the flow of the water. The low dripped off the tube, dripped down in there, and when it mixed with the carbide, it released acetylene gas, which is a flammable gas, and it came out the side right here, and you lit it with a flint. And it made a pretty nice light. You could see pretty good by it. If you had a reflector like that, kept it nice and shiny. They used this old carbide lamp up into the 30s when a few of the coal companies began to accept the union. And they came out with a light which we use today, which is called a miner's lamp. Now this is a 4-volt wet cell rechargeable battery, 2 filaments in spoke, each one goes out, blood in the spot, shine quite a distance. You don't have to buy them. The union company, they will assign you one, use the same light day and day out. They have charging racks and a lamp house, a little slot, you slide this battery part into it, this top part up to it, and you have a fresh charge the next day you work. Now both of these lights can be used for these various things, but this old carbide lamp works the best. Get them old night crawlers, you know, if you're going to go fishing. Jigging if you like them old frog legs. How many people like frog legs? Did you ever try to fry those suckers without putting the lid on the skillet? They hop right out there. Just sit there and quiver and shake.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back here at the second stop. These people would like to see how dark it is in the coal mines. If you'd be so kind as to send some my way, it'd be appreciated. Light travels over 6,000 feet per second. Dark travels much Times don't travel at all. Batteries do. That light. Okay. If you're not so busy, could you send me some dark, please? Fine. I'll leave this on a second.
How deep is that? Was that just it?
Just what you see right there.
That's sewn up there.
That's rock. That's how much
This is
money
how
you
dark
have.
it is.
You have. Anybody want to hear a good ghost story? And it goes good fine in this dark day. He'd be saying, woo, where are you? I bet he have knocks all over his head on these timbers. And not hit a ghost. Any more questions? Now, Fireball's an experienced miner who goes to the mines before the shift starts, and he gives the mines a visual safety inspection of the mines. He makes sure that mines is safe before the men go to work in it. But his main, most important job is to check for methane gas. And this is what he used for many, many years. It's called a flame safety lamp. He'd light this off just like you would a cigarette lighter, just that little old wick where you see it there. Hold up the roofs of mines, because methane gas is lighter than air. It always goes to the top. If you hit a pocket of gas with this, that flame would burn higher and higher. The higher the flame would burn, the more gas there would be in that particular place in the mines. Now, we no longer use this for detection of methane gas in coal mines. We have much more sophisticated instruments, methane detectors and spotters, which give a very accurate reading. But we still use this to test for oxygen efficiency, for bad air. If that flame goes out, you better go out mighty fast, or you're going to be out for a mighty long time. Water went in the bottom. Food sandwiches went up here at the top. Still come with a little pie pan which sits right on top here. Of course, today you don't need it. You can go to the store, buy those store-bought pies and cakes and throw them in your bucket. 60, 80 years ago, if you married a woman who thought something of you, she might bake you a pie, cut you a piece of it, put that pie pan there. Give her husband something sweet to eat. If he's married to one of them real rare ones, I tell you, they're kind of scarce today. Oh, there's a few of them still around, but not as many as there used to be. Every now and then to show appreciation for what you're doing for working day in, day out in the mines. Trying to make the best living you possibly could, doing your very best. Every now and then to show that she was thinking of you, was concerned about you, and did still care for you. She might write you a little love note and put it in here at your sandwiches. That'd make your day, wouldn't it? If I ever found one in mine, I'd probably die from shock. Or think I had someone else's bucket. I worked with a guy in the mines. His name was Charlie. And every time we sat down at dinner hole to eat lunch, old Charlie would start scratching around his dinner bucket looking for his love note. Now, his woman didn't put one in there every day, about once or twice a week. But old Charlie Didn't know what day she's gonna put in there, so he looks every day. Now, his bucket was plumb full of food. He had pies, cakes, candy bars, bubble gum, 2, 3 sandwiches, an apple mayo, and almost a poke of chewing tobacco. Hard to get the lid on top of his bucket. He'd set some of that stuff out, stare around the rest, pull his plastic wrap sandwiches out, shout him, light him, and twist him, turn him around like that. I'd say, Charlie, did she put one in there today? Oh, Charlie'd shake his head, says, no, I don't think she cares for me anymore. And you know he wasn't even married. This is what the men used to ride down to the places where they worked. They'd leave these things there at the loading hole. They had loading holes inside the mines where the man ship would stop and the men would get off these loading holes and ride these scooters down to where they worked. Now this was just for low coal. I'm talking about old 32, 36, 34, 42, 44 inches. You can't walk in that. You've got to crawl, see. Takes you a long time to crawl 300, 400 feet. So rather than take all that time, what they'd do, they would invest in a scooter, make one themselves, or have someone make them one or buy one, and they'd ride it down to where they worked on top of the rail. See. What they do, they get right down like this, on their knees. Of course, they had knee pads on. This right here is the motor. What do you think? About a 16 horsepower. It's a good sized leg, ain't it? Anyway, he'd start pumping with that leg, get that thing rolling good, and when he got it rolling good, he'd set his other knee up on and balance it just like he would a bicycle, and away he'd go. Now, he could move along at a pretty good clip on a straight stretch of track. But on a downhill grade is where he really lucked out, see. Just set that thing down on top of that rail, give it a little shove, man, and away he'd go. Man, he'd go like the wind. He'd fly. Man, he'd fly till the wind blew his carbide lamp out and he hit a rock on the rail. He'd start.